Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. George Bush is giving a speech, and he's having this conversation about this idea of hatred and everything else and bigotry. Let's listen for a moment. I'll give my comments afterwards.
In recent decades, public confidence in our institutions has declined. Our governing class has often been paralyzed in the face of obvious and pressing needs. The American dream of upward mobility seems out of reach for some who feel left behind in a changing economy. Discontent deepened and sharpened partisan conflicts. Bigotry seems emboldened. Our politics seems more vulnerable to conspiracy theories and outright fabrication. There are some signs that the intensity of support for democracy itself has waned, especially among the young, who never experienced the galvanizing moral clarity of the Cold War, or never focused on the ruin of entire nations by socialist central planning. Some have called this democratic deconsolidation. Really, it seems to be a combination of weariness, frayed tempers, and forgetfulness.
I haven't forgot. I haven't forgot at all. There's a few things wrong with the speech. I'm shocked that George Bush knew anything about World War II. I'm shocked that he knew anything about the Cold War in the first place. So yes, that's a joke on his intelligence. There's somewhat of a conflation with this idea of socialism and democracy. It's almost like he's conflating capitalism and the governance itself, if that makes sense. It's just a weird way he's saying it. So he's saying people are weary with it, some of the kids want socialism, etc. There is a such thing as democratic socialism. You can have a socialistic government that is democratically arranged. I have no idea what George Bush is talking about here. Now, part of this, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because he's talking about this kind of thing of conspiracy theories and how people are losing faith in the governance class and all this other stuff. He invaded a fucking country and murdered 1 million people. No, I'm never going to let that shit down. He invaded a fucking country and murdered 1 million people, in addition to torturing some of those people to try to create a link that did not exist between 9/11 and Saddam Hussein. That's who that guy is. So when this guy is out there and words are coming out of his mouth, whatever the words that are coming out of his mouth, there should always be, to the time that he dies and for 1 million years after, George Bush murdered 1 million Iraqis. Under a false pretense, mind you. Under false pretense. Even if you want to give George Bush the benefit of the doubt and say that he had nothing to do with 9/11, at the very least, he's incompetent. So, pick your pony. Either he has something to do with it, either he was incompetent, I don't care which one. Then to turn around and take that tragedy and use that tragedy to invade the wrong goddamn country is amazing to me. The idea that this exact same man does not bury his head in the sand and never stick his head out again for the rest of the time blows me away. It blows me away. There's a certain level of condemnation every time he comes out and says something, because it means that the media or that the public or whoever is watching him is giving him a pass for killing 1 million people. That's precisely what that means. George Bush shouldn't be able to come out and take the moral high ground on anything. George Bush shouldn't be coming out giving speeches on anything outside of him being a miserable fucking person that got 1 million people murdered, and we're still in those goddamn countries today. We've just had a 16-year anniversary, if I'm not mistaken, for the Iraq War. Or Iraq or Afghanistan. Pick your pony. Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Somalia, Yemen, etc., etc., etc. Pick your pony. We're in 70% of the world. We have military in 70% of the globe. It's amazing. Most of that started with this asshole giving a speech talking about Well, I mean, it seems that bigotry is on the rise. It seems that people don't trust their governing, bodies. I wonder why. I wonder why. I wonder why they lost faith in their governing classes. Governing classes sold them down the river. Yes, it started before George Bush. But invading the country, spending $3-4 trillion to do it, and getting, 3,000 Americans killed, in addition to the million Iraqis that were killed, in addition to destabilizing the rest of the region. Anytime you see this criminal giving a speech, that should be the context to whatever he's saying. It's amazing. He's still out here giving speeches. Go home and finger paint. Do that. I don't need to see you giving speeches. I don't want to see your face at all. Ultimately, if you're giving a speech, it is tantamount to the public saying what you did was okay. And there is no context to which I think what you did was okay. I'll leave it at that. Alright guys, if you enjoy the content, feel free to share, like, subscribe, and of course, you can always support the Patreon. Thanks guys.